Hello my fellow oddities, welcome to a new video. Today we are starting a new series on the channel called Adaptation Arena. In this series, I'll be taking various Mortal Kombat characters that have been adapted multiple times in live action and comparing the different adaptations based on which is the most accurate. And the way I'll be deciding which adaptation is the most accurate will be through 5 categories. The first is appearance, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's basically just how the character looks, what's their aesthetic, and is it accurate to the source material. The second is moveset, where I'll be deciding which adaptation has the most accurate powers, abilities, and weapons. The third is casting, where I'll be deciding which casting choice was the best for the character. I'll be covering stuff like age, race, and martial arts abilities, since this is Mortal Kombat. Fourth is personality, where I'll be covering which adaptation acts the most like the actual character from the games. And the fifth and final one is the storyline, where I'll be covering which one has the most accurate story to the one in the games. So for example, if I was doing this with the 3 live action Spider-Man, then it would probably go appearance. I'm gonna go with Tom Holland, especially with his newest suit. Moveset, I think I'll give the edge to Andrew Garfield. Casting, I think Tom Holland. He's the youngest out of the 3, so I just think it makes sense. Fourth personality, I'm gonna go with Tom Holland as well, so I think he's already won by this point. And the fifth one, I think the most obvious one, goes to Tobey Maguire. He has the most straightforward storyline of the 3, I think. So the winner of that Adaptation Arena would be Tom Holland, in my opinion. But now we're going to go a little bit more in-depth with Scorpion. He has had 3 live-action adaptations, one in the 1995 movie, one in Legacy, and one in, of course, 2021, the newest movie. So let's decide which Scorpion is the most Scorpion. Now when it comes to appearance, let's start off with 1995. What does this Scorpion look like? He's pretty dang accurate. Especially if you just take the body alone, he's pretty much one-to-one, the only difference being the fact that he now has sleeves instead of the open arms that he has in the games. And then of course the mask was not yellow, it was a dark gray, and it has a little bit more of a different pattern and design than he did in the previous 2 games before this movie came out, but overall, very, very accurate. Almost one-to-one. Moving on to Legacy, we actually have 2 costumes, the one from Season 1 and the one from Season 2. Now these 2 costumes are actually pretty similar to the 1995 design, but they're a little less cheap looking because, let's be honest, the 1995 costume looks like something you'd find in a Halloween shop, while these costumes look actually professionally made. Which is weird because Legacy was a web series, 1995 was a theatrically released movie. So yeah, the Legacy designs are definitely more realistic, but then again, that's not really what we're going for here. We're going for accuracy, so that doesn't really give it any step up over 1995 in any way. Now, where the Legacy Season 1 and Legacy Season 2 costumes differ is very minimal. The Season 2 design is basically the Season 1 design, but a little bit more dirty, and it has the golden mask, which definitely looks a lot cooler than the black mask for Scorpion. Just looked a bit ugly. And of course, since the Season 2 one is Scorpion, it also has the awesome white eyes, so I think out of the 2, I definitely prefer the Season 2 look, and it's definitely the more accurate of the 2. Now on to 2021. This is definitely the loser of the 3. Doesn't make it a bad design. In fact, I think it's great, in my opinion. I think it's awesome. But it's definitely inaccurate, especially compared to the other 2. This design takes from the more modern games such as Mortal Kombat X and 11 with the hood design, and also just like the more complicated look it has with the patterns and the armor and like the chest plate and the samurai shoulder pads, which is definitely wrong because Scorpion isn't a samurai, he is a ninja, but fair enough, this movie did get that right. He is claimed to be a ninja, unlike Legacy, where he's claimed to be a samurai, even though that design looked more like a ninja than this one. I don't even know, but that's that. And with all the designs being covered, which one is the most accurate and wins the category? I think it's pretty obvious. 1995 steals the show here. It's almost pulled directly from the games with just a few minor differences because Hollywood has to Hollywood and has to change things, which sucks sometimes, but whatever. This one is still the most accurate and still wins by kind of a long shot. On to the second category, moveset. Which one of these Scorpions has the most accurate powers, abilities, and weapons? Let's start off with 1995. I have no idea how this came to be. How did someone go, you know that spear that Scorpion has in the game that he throws at people and says, "Get over here"? Yeah, what if that was instead like a demon snake thing that lives in his hand and is alive and directly tries to like go after people, like literally, like has a mind of its own. It's not just a spirit that he goes, ha, get over here. It literally just goes off on its own and does its own thing. Like, is that not weird? Like, I don't know, but it's definitely not accurate. But other than that, this scorpion can teleport, but it doesn't really seem like he can do it in battle. It seems like he can only just teleport people to the Netherrealm, which is kind of lame, but whatever. And lastly, of course, he can rip off his mask, revealing the skull, and breathe fire. Definitely very accurate to his in-game fatality. Now on to Legacy. This one, thankfully, has the standard kunai spear. Enough of that snake stuff after like 1995, Annihilation, and Conquest all had the snake hand thing. Finally, we're back to the classic stuff. Thank God. He can also teleport, but he can do it in the midst of a battle, which is a bit more accurate. But from what it seems, he can't do much more than that. He doesn't have the swords, and from what it looks like, he can't take off his mask, revealing a skull, and breathe fire. Just kinda lame. But you know what? That's Legacy Season 2 for you. Or just Legacy in general. Moving on. 2021, this version of Scorpion definitely had one of the better fights in the movie, the final one with Sub-Zero, so he does have quite a lot to go off of. First off, not Snake Spear, so that's great. Normal Spear, awesome. And plus, this is the only live-action adaptation of Scorpion to have the swords. Like, even Legacy didn't have them. For some reason, Scorpion had had swords for like 10 years previous to that point, so I don't know like what happened, but at least he has the swords in this one, and they are awesome. This Scorpion can also teleport, but it seems to be more similar to the 1995 style, where he can only teleport to and from the Netherrealm, which is kind of lame, but whatever. There's also one point in the final battle where he turns his hand into a burst of flames and uses it to break the ice that Sub-Zero had frozen him in, which is pretty accurate in the game. Scorpion can like throw fireballs and stuff. He is a firebender of sorts, so I think it's pretty good. And finally, of course, there's his Toasty Fatality, which is definitely not as accurate as 1995, but you know what, at least it's there at all. Now, who wins this category? I think, again, the answer is pretty obvious. 2021 has pretty much everything besides the whole teleporting situation, but you know what, that's a minor thing. Everything else he has down, like 100% accurate. The third category we have here is casting. Which one of these actors was the best fit for Scorpion? Starting off in 1995, and ooh, this one's a bit not good. Scorpion is played by Chris Casamassa. Scorpion in the games is Japanese. As far as I can tell, maybe I'm completely wrong here. I don't know. You decide for yourself, but Chris Casamassa does not look like he's Japanese. Or even Asian at all for that matter, so that definitely is a huge blow to this casting. I know a lot of people that grew up in the 1995 movie have a very big attachment to Chris Casamassa because nostalgia reasons. He was their first Scorpion. He was the first Scorpion in live action ever. I mean, technically, the games themselves were live action, but just in the movies, stuff like that, he was the first live action Scorpion. I get why some people might be attached to that, but he was just not the right fit. You need to get a Japanese actor for a Japanese character, especially when that aspect of the character is quite important to the character. But looking past that, his fighting ability is definitely great. He is a stuntsman and martial artist, so he's obviously great there, nothing to complain about. And at the time of filming, Chris was about 29 to 30, in that range, which is pretty accurate since Scorpion is about 32 at the time of MK1. Next up with Legacy, we have Ian Anthony Dale, who is American-Japanese, so he's not like from Japan or anything. He grew up in America, but his mother is Japanese, and I'm not sure the ethnicity of his father, but I don't know, he's at least more Japanese than Chris Casamassa. But unlike the other actors we have here, it seems like Ian did not have any sort of martial arts training or anything like that before Legacy. Of course, when Legacy started up, he took a little bit of training, he did a little stunt work for the series, but other than that, nothing really. And when it comes to age, Ian was about 33, 32 when the series started filming, so he is very accurate in that regard because Scorpion, 32 during MK1, even though technically when he was 32, he played the character before MK1, but it's fine. It's like around the same time. It doesn't matter. Now lastly, with 2021, we of course have Hiroyuki Sanada, who is fully Japanese. So that's kind of funny. Like the first one, non-Japanese American, then we had Japanese American. Now we just have fully Japanese, which is the most accurate of the three because Scorpion is fully Japanese. He's not American in any way, I believe, unlike Sub-Zero. Now, Sanada is a very popular Japanese martial artist and actor. He has been in a lot of movies that you've probably heard of before. He was in the original Ring, not the 2000 whatever remake. He was in the original Japanese one. He was also in like a whole bunch of samurai style movies, stuff like that. He's in the new Bullet Train movie. He was in the Wolverine movie. He was in Avengers Endgame. He had a very minor part in that, but still a part in like the biggest movie of all time, so you gotta give him bravo for that. He also has experience in not just hand-to-hand combat, but also sword fighting combat, so you could see that in the Wolverine and also in Avengers Endgame very briefly before he died. And of course, you can see it in Mortal Kombat. Like, it's pretty much the most obvious here. Like, he is awesome with a sword. But the thing that really drags him down a bit compared to the other actors is his age. Unlike the other two, he is not in his early 30s. He is 61 right now. At the time of filming, he was like 59, 60, around that age, which is definitely a big gap between Scorpion's age and his age. So, different interpretation, older Scorpion, but we're looking at accuracy here. Age, definitely not as accurate as the other two. But who is the winner? This is the first one that's actually kind of hard. I think definitely not Chris Casamassa. He is disqualified out of here. But Legacy versus 2021, Ian Anthony Dale, he's kind of a jack of all trades but master of none. He's not fully Japanese, he has no real martial arts background, and his age is pretty perfect, so I'll give him that. Sanada, he is a master at a lot, but there's just one thing that really just brings him down, and that's his age. But I don't know. I'll give the point to 2021, I think. I just think Hiroyuki Sanada is just too perfect, and I think his age just, like, yeah, it's pretty bad, but I just think all the other stuff is pretty much perfect, so I can ignore that and call him the most accurate casting for Scorpion. Now the second to last category we have here is personality. Which one of these Scorpions is characterized the most accurate to the games? Let's start off with 1995 once again. Now this version of Scorpion has very, very few lines. If I'm remembering correctly, I'm pretty sure all he says is, get over here, come here, welcome, and get down here. 4 lines. I'm pretty sure that's it. But from the personality and the vibe we get from those lines, as well as just his demeanor, it seems to be a pretty basic surface level interpretation of Scorpion that's like, I don't know, it's not like a super complicated deep character, but like you can see the inspiration there from the games. Very angry, very ruthless type of character, so like, I guess it's fine enough. Of course, it would be way easier to tell if this character actually had an accurate personality, if he had more story than just a goon, but we'll get to that later. And of course, his Hanzo Hasashi personality is just like never seen because he's never Hanzo Hasashi in the movie, he's always just Scorpion. Next up we have Legacy, starting with the Hanzo personality, and it's mostly on point, but if I had to nitpick, like, I think he's missing a little bit of edge to him, because Hanzo Hasashi, yes, he's more of a family man. He's not as, like, resentful or ruthless as Scorpion, but he's still, like, a ninja. He still kills people, like, for a living. So I think it would just be a little more interesting if you had that side of him that's, like, willing to kill people. But this one is just, like, he feels like a normal dad. And the Scorpion personality in Season 2 is great. Like, I don't have any problems with it. It's pretty perfect. Very vengeful and ruthless and resentful for Sub-Zero. We'll get to the storyline later. It's absolutely whack, but it's a pretty good personality for Scorpion. Now we have 2021. I think the Hanzo personality is great. I think it's perfect. I mean, we didn't see much of it, but from what we did see, there's no problems there. Where there starts to be problems is with the Scorpion personality. Now, to be fair, he's only in one scene, like the Scorpion version of Hiroyuki Sanada, Hanzo. He's only in one scene in the movie, so there's not too much to judge, but from what we did see, he didn't really seem like the angry, vengeful Scorpion that we all know. He just kind of seemed like he was like basic, generic, I want to kill you because you killed me and my family like however many years ago. And, you know, it's kind of lackluster, honestly. So the winner of this category has got to go to Legacy because overall, it's good, unlike the other two. With 1995, it's kind of basic. 2021 has some good stuff with the Hanzo side, Scorpion side, kind of lackluster. So Legacy just has the best overall version of the character. Now on to the last category. Currently 2021 is in the lead. Legacy and 1995 have 1 point each. Now if 1995 or Legacy scores the point in this last category, then we will have a tiebreaker. So if in this last category, let's say Legacy wins, then 1995 is disqualified, then it's 2021 and Legacy both having 2 points as a tie. So as the tiebreaker, we will go back to the one that 1995 won, which is appearance. Since 1995 was disqualified, we can compare 2021 to Legacy in their appearance, and whichever wins that section wins the whole thing, if that makes sense. So that's how ties are going to work moving forward with this entire series. So, storyline. This is the last category. Which one has the best or most accurate story? Starting with 1995, there is no story for this version of Scorpion. Like, yes, there are a few mentions of like, ooh, his rivalry with Sub-Zero, but it's never shown. It's just mentioned like, I don't even think a few times. I think it was just mentioned once, and that's it. Other than that, Scorpion is literally just a goon for Johnny Cage to beat up. No storyline there at all, so 1995, get out of here. It's between Legacy and 2021 now. Talking about Legacy, 2021 wins. Let's just say that. Now, in Season 1 of Legacy, it wasn't too bad. It was pretty basic. Scorpion was there, Bi-Han came, or Bi-Han, who was actually Quan Chi, to his village, massacred everyone, you know, basic stuff. But then it all starts to go downhill in Legacy Season 2. This season described the backstory of the Shirai Ryu and the Lin Kuei before the massacre, and oh god, it is something else. Alright, so first off, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Hanzo Hasashi, and Bi-Han are childhood best friends from opposing clans. That's already really weird. So then when they grow up, they form a truce between the two clans. Not supposed to happen for a while after this, and it's not between Hanzo and Bi-Han, it's between Hanzo and Kuai Liang. But speaking of Kuai Liang, he's basically Frost. He hates the Shirai Ryu and wants to go back to the old ways of Shirai Ryu versus Lin Kuei, that sort of stuff. So he tries to kill Hanzo, and then Hanzo kills Kuai Liang before the tournament has even started. So basically, what the storyline is here is that Scorpion is friends with Bi-Han, but doesn't like Kuai Liang. That is completely backwards. Like, just whack. Okay, it's whack. That's not how, who, like, okay. It's not a great story already, alright? But the least you could have done is just switched around the two characters, made Bi-Han the one that's evil, and made Kuai Liang the one that's good. We'll talk about it more in the Sub-Zero Adaptation Arena, because those are more relevant characters to that, but like, come on! And then of course, after all this with the Shirai Ryu massacre, Hanzo is there at the scene where it's all happening instead of at the temple, where he's supposed to die, from the actual Bi-Han, not Quan Chi, and it's just not accurate at all. It's like, it's completely backwards, and so it's just like 1995 in this, like, there's nothing to bring them up at all. So 2021 has got to be the winner, even though even that is not that accurate. First of all, it has the whole Scorpion being there at the Shirai Ryu massacre, even though that's not how it's supposed to be. He's supposed to be at the temple beforehand, where he's killed by the actual Bi-Han. But now in this version, the actual Bi-Han is the one that massacred the Shirai Ryu, instead of it being Quan Chi, because like Bi-Han admits to it later, like the real Bi-Han, unless the Bi-Han we follow throughout the entire movie is actually Quan Chi, which would be a ridiculous twist. that I'm not at all a fan of. Hanzo is then resurrected in the Netherrealm, pretty accurate, and is summoned by Cole Young, definitely not accurate, to fight Sub-Zero before the tournament has even happened, and he kills Sub-Zero before the tournament, not at all accurate. But you know what? At least some of the relationships are still there. He still has the rivalry with Sub-Zero, which, by the way, none of the other two live-action interpretations have, so that's a plus. And he was still resurrected in the Netherrealm. He still has, like, the basic Scorpion stuff, instead of it just being, like, completely backwards or just completely non-existent. So the winner of the storyline category is 2021, and if we look at the scoreboards here, Scorpion from 2021 has 3 points, the other two have 1 point each, making 2021 Scorpion Hiroyuki Sanada the winner of this Adaptation Arena. Let me know which characters you want me to do next for this series. I mean, I'm gonna do Sub-Zero next, second most popular character in the whole series. People will click on that because they recognize the character, but after that, which character do you want me to do next? And don't ask for Johnny Cage, because I'm gonna wait until the sequel to the 2021 movie comes out to judge that Johnny Cage along with Lyndon Ashby and the one from Legacy, or the two different ones technically. I don't know, it's weird, but we'll get to that when the sequel to Mortal Kombat 2021 comes out, and we can talk about Johnny Cage in Adaptation Arena. I really like this name. Make sure you're subscribed and have the notification bell turned on, and if you liked the video, make sure to give it a like. And with that being said, that's it for this video, my fellow oddities. I'll see you next time.